Hello, 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 hello. Um, it's funny. Been doing these videos every morning here for quite a while. Actually, today it's a little later than normal. Um, to just what was coming up for me to talk about a bit today is that there's a lot going on in the world. Um, just a ton going on in the world. If you look outside, the COVID thing, the climate change. Today's Earth Day. Uh, there's just finances. Uh, so much. Black Lives Matter, racism, the change that's happening. It's just there's a lot going on outside, and then there's personal health and personal relationships and family and a lot of ways that we can be distracted from um, really our core purpose, which is to help others, to serve, and and to build a relationship with a higher power. And for those of you that have been around any length of time, you recognize that life changes. There's always stuff going on. I mean, there's always, you know, um, things that seem like they're very urgent, and maybe they are urgent, and that's okay. There's all kinds of stuff going on, but at the core, if we're in recovery, if we recognize the importance of a relationship with a higher power, at the core, none of that really matters. It's just what's going on, and so we focus on this being here now in this moment, and yes, I think it's okay to acknowledge that there's stuff going on around us, and that if the train's coming, we get off the tracks, those kind of things, and but not to be distracted, just to breathe. I mean, um, what is it that we're accessing when we slow down? We've done our work, our personal work, and when we're building this relationship through prayer, or this relationship through meditation with a higher power. We access, I call it love. And so no matter what's going on in the world around us, when we're in that love zone, in that peace zone, in that oneness zone, in that be here now, uh, be here now, that I can't even describe, then then we have an effect on the world around us. We do, and there's a lot of us. Imagine how many there are. There's millions and millions and millions of people on the planet who are focusing on being present, on the now, on love, on service. And you're one of them. And, I mean, if you're watching this far in, you're one of them. And it's you know, unless you've just stumbled across me today. This is the message over and over again, no matter what's going on. I mean, we acknowledge that there's stuff happening, and I think that we can all be affected. If we watch the news, I mean, I'm not saying that you shouldn't watch the news, just recognize that these things are facts. There's facts happening, and that's okay. You know, we don't have to get emotionally attached, or we don't have to be in fear. We just recognize it. Be present, be here now. Life is happening, and we're in the middle of it in this moment. It's all around us. So that's my piece for this morning. you know Practices, do your practices. We all do our practices, prayer and meditation, and get enough sleep, and kind of be able to be here in each moment, and with love, with compassion for all of those who get caught up in the idea of right and wrong and good and bad. you know One of the beautiful things about you know having been on the planet now a number of years, uh, whatever the problem was a few years ago, we don't even remember. We don't even remember. Yes, a lot of change has happened, and it's beautiful. There's exciting times in a way of what's happening, but in the big picture, it isn't really, what where our peace comes from is in this moment, being present, connecting with love, with universal intelligence, with God as we understand him or don't understand him. So that's the deal. Everything else often is complaint or judgment, okay, that's my little thing. No matter what's happening out there, be present, be here now. So I'm just going to read, what is the date? The 22nd, oh my gosh, of April. 22nd of April. And this from this little book we've been reading from now. Oh, we're in a week. We'll have been doing this for a year. Every day we haven't missed a day. And every day I've had a little something to say, and about consciousness, about awakening, about love, about recovery, about addiction. These, have been kind of the subjects. And this little book is called 24-Hour Day Book. It was written in 1954 and by a gentleman and in this book he has a kind of little daily thought for the day, a meditation for the day, and a prayer for the day. And that's what we've been doing here, is going through this and sharing it with you. So AA, it says, April 22nd, thought for the day. People who believe in the 12 steps when they see it work. People believe, he says, in the 12 steps when they see it work. And that's what happens. I mean, I was at my home group last night. Wow. It was great. I think we had about 35 on Zoom and about 30 in the room. What a great meeting. What a great meeting. A real testimony last night of how this works. A buddy of mine was there. Andy and Andy recovered in 1977, and he's, to me, he's still a young man, and he was in his mid 20s when he came into recovery, and I also came in shortly after that when I was 25, and so Andy and I both been around a long, long time. The room was great. So it's so clear that it works for those who work it. Every time it works for those who work it, and that's often my message. Anyway, people believe in the 12 steps when they see it work. An actual demonstration is what convinces them. What they read in books, what they hear people say, doesn't always convince them. But when they see a real, honest to goodness change take place in a person, a change from an addict, from a drunkard or to a sober, useful citizen, that's something they can believe because they can see it. That's really only one thing that proves to me that it works. Have I seen the change in people who come into the 12 steps? Yes. We were reading from the book last night. We're reading about Dr. Bob's nightmare in the book. And Dr. Bob was the AA number 2 in 1935. And he talks about, all the things that he'd done trying to get sober, but he'd never met somebody who had. And Bill Wilson found his way to Akron, Ohio, and met up with Dr. Bob, and by really by miracle, the story, if you read it, how Bill, why Bill was in Akron and how he met with Bob, it's all unbelievably serendipitous. It would, you couldn't call it anything but divine inspiration. And Bob got sober, and June the 10th, 1935, he was AA number 2, and so the 12 steps were kind of developed around another organization at the time that was quite Christian based, and Bill knew that we needed to open this up to be inclusive and not be exclusive, and it's been amazing. Anyway, meditation of the day: divine control and unquestioning obedience to God are the only conditions necessary for a spiritual life. Boom, boom. Well, we say honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness are the things that are indispensable. And divine control means absolute faith and trust in God, a belief that God is a divine principle in all universe, in the universe, and that He is the intelligence, the love that controls the universe. So it's interesting because we can't describe God. That's the deal. So he tries here by calling God the intelligence and love that controls the universe, and I'll go with that, but it's very impossible to describe. Unquestioned obedience to God means living each day the way we believe God wants us to live, constantly asking the guidance of God in every situation, and being willing to do the right thing at all times. Pretty cool. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may also be under divine control and always practice unquestioning obedience to God. I pray that I may be always ready to serve. So, um, boy, we've got about a week left, and I've done a year, and I don't know what's going to happen after that. I've looked at a couple of things that, one is this one, Daily Reflections. Maybe we'll read that for a bit. We'll see. I've also been looking at Stephen Mitchell, the Tao Te Ching. It's beautiful, and there's 81. I like this. 81 kind of verses, and each one is short. So the Tao is something I'm thinking about, and that I might read for a couple of months and just drift away a bit into, you know, some other teachings. So you guys tell me what you think of that. All right, sorry about coughing into this microphone. So we're going to sit for a couple of minutes. Just I like to practice with you a little meditation. So 3 or 4 minutes, that's all. Okay, three. We're going to sit for 3 or 4 minutes, and the idea of sitting is so that we practice coming into the moment. You know, and I've struggled with this. If you have, I can relate to that. I've never been, a great meditator. I don't know what a great meditator is, but I do sit, and I don't do anything other than that. And I'll just kind of guide you. If you want to sit with me for a couple of minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, that's it. So close your eyes wherever you are. We're just going to close our eyes for a couple of minutes. Just drop into this moment. One of the things that we notice sometimes, some of us do when we close our eyes, is that our thoughts keep going. We can watch them, can't we? If you're watching your thoughts come up without getting into them, getting caught in them, getting on what I call the thought train, just watch them. And eventually they'll slow down. Just make it a practice to just watch them. Don't engage. Don't get caught up. Just watch. Two things happen. Eventually they just kind of run in the background and they're irrelevant. And the other is that we know that we're not our thoughts, because we're watching our thoughts, and if we're watching them, obviously we can't be them. Drop into your breath. Just practice. Practice being here now in your breath. If there's any sounds in the room, just let them bring you into the moment. Sometimes we just feel our body. Body brings us into the moment. Breath, body. become aware, conscious of in this quiet space. Become conscious of the stillness. In this quiet space, we surrender all things, all past, all future. We can pick this up later. Let go of all of our stories, all of our identity. Just be here now. Okay, just going to leave you here. You can stay in this space as long as you want. Practice this. Okay, I love you lots. Thank you so much.